You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How about that? Finally, for the first time in 2024, your Houston Astros are a team with a winning record. June the 30th, it took a while to get here, but they are here, and a great victory this afternoon after a lengthy rain delay there in New York as they beat the Mets, putting it to them 10-5 in 11 innings. Thanks for joining us way after we should have been doing this. This game started today at 12:40 our time. It is almost 6:40 now in the evening as we're starting this show. Rain delays happen. I hope you guys enjoyed your rain delay. I did. I took a nap. It was nice. My wife and I fell asleep on the couch. But the Astros are back where they needed to, and I know we'll get to a lot of it. I do see, as you see there, my graphics over there on the side, put the bullpen steps up huge. Everybody in the bullpen except for Brian Abreu. Seth Martinez gave up a couple of runs. It is what it is, but there's Abreu that gave up the lead there. We'll talk about him a little bit. It is what it is. Today's show, by the way, the Locked On Astros Postcast this evening is brought to you, by PrizePicks. And you need to get in on PrizePicks, by the way, because, well, why aren't you? The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. So how do you feel this afternoon, this evening? Put it in the comments. Do you finally, I've asked this question a lot, probably a couple of months ago when they started to play a little bit better baseball. Okay, I'm willing to say it today, now that they're back above 500. It's only one game. You can't rest on it. They're going to Toronto for 4 days. They're going to be tested because their bullpen is going to be kind of, in a tough spot with usage and everything. They've used a lot of guys the last couple of days, so we'll see exactly how that goes. But how do you feel today to this question? Are the Astros back? Are they back in your mind after going and taking 2 of 3 this weekend to continue their role in the month of June? Hey, I'd love to see those Mets fans that kept coming in here and creeping into the comments Friday night and then doing it again during the game yesterday. What a shock. They didn't show up yesterday afternoon after the Astros won. And then, what a shock. I bet you they don't show up today. Astros, though, finishing off a fantastic month. And I said it right now, and I'll say it again. Yes, I'm willing to say it. For somebody that, in the middle of the year right now, or in the middle of the year, or not in the middle of the year, in the middle of the first half of the season, I flat out looked at this camera and said they're not making the postseason. Part of it was anger, of course. A lot of it was anger. A lot of it also believed it, because this team just constantly was doing stuff that, didn't look like a team that's going to figure it out. But today, I'll sit here and I'll tell you, they're back. They are back. Does that mean they're going to win the division? I don't know. They could. There's a chance of it. I don't know what's going on in my house. There's a lot of screaming all of a sudden, like happy screaming for something. Did the Mariners lose? I think they lost. Maybe that's what it's for. They did lose, by the way. The Astros gained a game in the American League West, and I believe I need to look. Oh, the Rangers are playing later tonight, they're playing Sunday Night Baseball, I think. So that's they'll probably lose again. No, they look at this. I can't. Why does MLB? I'm telling you, every time I go to MLB.com, it pulls up. The Rangers are currently winning in the bottom of the second, 2-0 over there. But we're not even worried about them. You're worried about the Mariners. The Astros are creeping up on the Mariners now. 4 games out in the American League West. 4 games out of a wild card. We did a lot of these shows where I came on here and said a lot of things where I got very, very mad. And I think you guys got mad too. Simple as that. We've had a lot of discussion about, should this team be a team that looks to sell at the trade deadline? And it was warranted. They're not out of the woods yet. They still have the rest of this month, or excuse me, June is over now. The rest of the schedule ahead of the All-Star break: Toronto for 4, Minnesota for 3 on the road, and then home for Miami for 3. If they don't slap them around, then, well, there's a problem. And then they got the Rangers for 3 at home before they head to the All-Star break to head up to Arlington and hopefully have 3 guys in the starting lineup for the American League and a 4th in Ronel Blanco being on the roster. But it really, to me, felt like early in this season that, okay, reality is setting in. And, it was a great run. Maybe this is a reset year. Maybe this is a year where baseball gods just don't love you the way that they have in the past. Or you're just not as talented. You're not as good as you have been. It looked like that early in the year. Sometimes, and we make fun of it. We make fun of it a lot. There is an element to it, which I will gladly admit right now. It's a stupid phrase that he should stop using so much. But sometimes some of the back of the baseball card, as Dana Brown loves to tell you, does tell a story. And there's a lot of guys in this team that always start slow. Now, this year was not normal. It was terribly slow to start the year. They were just atrocious to start this season. They couldn't close out games. And look, they're not perfect still. I mean, honestly, and again, we'll talk about the rest of the bullpen in a minute. I personally have zero faith in Brian Brady this year. None. Every time he comes in, it's never clean. I mean, I bet I'd have to go and look it up, but I know that he has very few clean innings this year, like less than 10. Now, he's been used a lot. He had a 8 or 9 day break today before entering play today, where they had not used him. And I got a lot of those tweets like, oh, well, he hadn't pitched for 8, 9 days or whatever. Like, what do you expect? Like, that's not an excuse. What I expect is a fully rested, ready to go arm who is expected to go out there and get outs. Like, I'm not giving anybody an excuse because they had time off of pitching in games. Still throws bullpens. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. He's a high leverage reliever, and he left a fastball right over the middle of the plate, and it got crushed out of the ballpark to tie the baseball game. And he cost the Astros the ability today to get, through the baseball game with fewer pitchers being used. And again, they're set up right now where the next few days they're playing 4 in a row there in Toronto, and they don't have any off days until after the road trip. So they need help, and they could have won this game. And at the end of the day, for me, and I know it is for you guys, I don't care at the end of the day as long as they got the win, and they got the win. That's what matters. And they're back. They feel like they're back. And can you imagine the feeling for the other teams? Can you imagine the feeling in Seattle today? Like, oh, God, here they come. Here comes the team that's just been everybody's daddy in this division for years. They're starting to figure it out. Dang. And they've got, at some point, a little bit of reinforcement coming, right? Luis Garcia pitched his first rehab start for the Gulf Coast League, the rookie league down there in Florida. I think it's called the Florida Gulf Coast League, I believe. Pitched an inning. At some point, he's going to come back into games. I'm not mentioning Lance McCullers. They are not even saying he's pitching anything, so I'm not worried about him. He'll pitch next year. Watch. But maybe they'll get to the trade deadline, and unlike what I was thinking, I still go back and forth on that. When you get there, do you go and trade 4 players? It's tough. I don't know how much you want to deplete your farm system that's already been depleted, and then on top of that, for this team, right now I feel good. Do I feel like they can go out there and beat up the best teams in baseball right now? No, I don't. But that's okay. As long as they get back to the dance in any season, anybody can make it in the postseason. I mean, look at last year, the 2 wild card teams, and the Rangers were a team that you see the road. I know that they've had injuries this year as well. They're missing a lot of pitching, but they had a lot of those injuries last year. Some years, some teams can bottle it together and have a great year. It just happens. It does. Diamondbacks, that was an 85-win team. Or maybe not even that, 84. So the Astros just have to get there. That's all that matters now. And the first step was getting back to 500. The second step was getting over it. And now they can't slip back. They can't hover. They have to quickly build a cushion on that 500 mark. Simple as that. And if they can do that, then I'll start coming on here and having the discussion of how far can this team go postseason-wise? How far should this team go at the trade deadline? It just feels right to be back here, though. It just feels right that they're playing good baseball again, that they're looking like a team that's dangerous. That's the most important thing. And they're going to put everybody on notice in terms of watching them go out there and do their thing. That's as simple as it gets. I've enjoyed watching this. I've enjoyed watching this team. And yeah, I got rid of the guy. Yes, my forehead looks bigger today, so you can go by. Thank you. Sorry that I'm losing my hair. The Astros, though, look like they're back. You can keep answering that question in the comments. You could go ahead and send them on in if you feel like this club is back, and we'll talk plenty more. Let's talk about the guys in the bullpen that did something well today, not the guy that did it bad. We'll do that next here in the Locked On Astros Postcast. First up, I need to tell you about FanDuel. I love sports. You love sports. We all don't want them to stop. Of course, we're down to just baseball, but FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every single day, all summer long. Head over right now to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And one more message before we get back to our Astros discussion. PrizePicks. You want to make the Astros games fun? Well, go ahead and get yourself in on PrizePicks. It's picking more or less. It's as simple as that. They're America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's awesome. I play it quite a bit. You will love it every single time that you do as well. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Locked On Astros Postcast on a Sunday evening. Sorry, I need some water here as we discuss the Astros' 10-5 win in 11 innings over the New York Mets today, as they are above 500, 41, or what are they? Look, I'm going to get the record wrong. I should know the record off the top of my head, and I don't for some reason. It's that nap. I took that nap. 42-41. I was going to say 41-40, but no, they're past the halfway point. 42-41 on the season. Off to Toronto for 4 against the Blue Jays this week. We'll see how they can get through the pitching this week. That's going to be very, very interesting. Tomorrow night, they'll hand the ball to Hunter Brown against, we'll get to the pitching matchups here in just a few minutes when we give a little preview of that series this week up there in Toronto. Day game today, or tomorrow, by the way, 2:07. So we'll be with you in the evening. Probably, hopefully a little bit earlier than this tomorrow evening. So on your drive home, you don't have to watch necessarily, but you can put it on your phone and connect it to your speakers in the car and just listen to the Locked On Astros Postcast on the way home. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, that's what I would do if I were you. I wouldn't want to listen to any other postgame show out there, so I would appreciate it. If you're here, by the way, and you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like I mentioned, we're with you after every game. We'll do this all season long. When the Astros win, we'll do it when the Rockets and Texans play as well. We'll do it when the Cougs play, so plenty of Houston action. Hey, real quick, I did want to talk about, before we talk about the guys in the bullpen that did good today, not Brian Abreu. The Jose Altuve situation. That was not good on the umpire's part. Look, it's a fast moment that happens. It's hard to see it. And, the naked eye sometimes has a hard time picking it up. I get it. It's amazing that when you have 4 guys on the field who are all watching what's going on, that not one of them could notice it. The real shame of the situation is that Jose Altuve, first of all, has to get that hot and bothered. But second of all, that you can't challenge it. Like, you have a challenge system and a replay system, and you can't challenge it. Tell me how it makes sense. It doesn't. I can review fair foul. I can review so many things. I can't review if a player hit a ball off of his foot. Because if that happened, if they did review it, of course, and we all saw the replays multiple times, if they review it, Jose Altuve is not going to be called out. He would be back at the plate hitting, and who knows what happens in that situation. I just thought that umpiring crew as a whole this weekend wasn't very good. Jim Wolf, his strike zone the other day was just atrocious back there. It's like it kept getting wider and wider and wider as the game moved on. I didn't understand. I really didn't. Like, does he need glasses? Does he need LASIK? Like, can we hook the guy up? I know maybe he's just working out too much. He is the most jacked umpire in the league. But, like, what were we doing? And I couldn't believe that. I shouldn't say that I couldn't believe it wasn't seen necessarily naked eye. I can understand to an extent. But I just don't get the replay system, how we can have it, the available technology, and we can't use it right. Just use it. It's a play that's in question. So use it. I know that we're in a world where we want to speed up games and everything, which is great. These games do move a lot faster. I love that. Trust me, I absolutely love that. But I think that was one of those situations, and Jose had every right to be mad about it. And it's really interesting to see him get that hot and bothered. We don't see Jose Altuve show that kind of, anger on the field, really at any point in his big league career. He really lost it there. And I thought we saw that a couple times this weekend when it came to the strike zone with a few guys. They were not very happy about it. Let's talk before we preview the Blue Jays series here in just a couple of minutes. The pitching that did its thing today on a bullpen day. Sean Dubin, take a bow, sir. He was great for 3 1/3. I know that he had a few walks, but to get that deep into the game today was huge for the Astros. King behind him, shutout baseball. I know, again, Martinez gave up a couple of runs. I'm not going to crush him as much as I will Brian Abreu giving up a couple of runs because he was really bad. Brian Presley, good inning out of him a day after throwing a bunch of pitches. Taylor Scott, really good to get through that 1 inning and then, of course, gave up the tie, but also got out of the situation, didn't let the Mets win the baseball game. Love that. And then, Contreras had the easiest job in the world in an extra inning game to end the baseball game today because he came in with a 5-run lead. I mean, look at the Mets today. Only had five hits in the game. 5 runs, 5 hits. Astros ended up with 10 runs, 15 hits. So, I mean, the pitching staff did a really, really good job today overall of going out there and doing their job outside of a couple of swings. And, again, the Brian Abreu swing of the bat that he gave up was as bad as it got. I don't want to keep harping on him, but I'm so disappointed in what he is this season. I just genuinely am. He gives me no confidence. I know that his numbers have come back down a lot, and he's still getting strikeouts, but I'm telling you, he does not have clean innings. And as a high leverage reliever late in games, when you can't come in and have clean innings, it is a recipe for disaster. And I don't feel good when he goes to the mound ever. I feel better currently, and it's taken him a long time to get there. I feel better currently than I do. I feel better about Ryan Presley than I do Brian Abreu, which is hard to believe. They got the win, though, right? I can't be too picky. They're above 500. Gosh, I didn't think it was going to happen. I want this team. I mean, that's the other part. When this team started the season against the Yankees, the 4-game series, you'd think at some point, early in the year, that'd be, game or two over 500 here, there, whatever. No. They've never been above 500 until this day. And I can't believe it happened before the end of June. Last day of June, they were able to pull it off. Absolutely fantastic that they did that today for this ball club to get that victory and head off to Toronto in a very good place. I would assume mentally, physically, we'll see. And just, happy flight, as they like to say. Go off, and I bet their dinner reservations got canceled tonight in Toronto. They probably had some good dinner reservations, and that got screwed by some rain. Because it's almost 8 o'clock now in New York. They probably won't be out of New York until 10 o'clock tonight at the earliest, maybe 10:30. Short flight, but they'll just go to the hotel and want to go to bed because they got a game tomorrow afternoon. Day game. Let's talk about that series against the Toronto Blue Jays in just a couple of moments here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every single time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Locked On Astros Postcast, Sunday evening edition following a series win, right? The most important thing for this team is to win series. They win a series and a fun extra inning win after a very lengthy rain delay. It's like 2 hours and 47 minutes. I think it's been a while since they've had a game like that. I try to keep the comments up, and I do see one right there talking about Joey Loperfido at first base today. Yeah, hey, good for Joey getting a little bit of time there late in the game. Good for Joey having a big hit there in the extra innings as well. Just awesome. Trey Cabbage today. Trey Cabbage, look at you, buddy. You can get him some more at-bats. Why don't you? It's going to be interesting to see what the Astros do when Kyle Tucker comes back. Somebody's going to get squeezed out again. I don't know what you do. Because I've liked some of the at-bats from Cabbage. I've liked at-bats from Loperfido. Chas McCormick has not been good, but he's actually started to play a little bit better. He had a big hit in the extra innings. Like, he's had some moments recently that have been better. I know his numbers still are completely terrible, but it'll still be interesting to see what they do. Oh, yeah, and Singleton. John Singleton. Yes, good day for John. Hits another home run. What do you have? 3 hits in the baseball game today? 3 for 4? Good for John. I enjoy the fact that John Singleton is figuring it out a little bit and having a late career renaissance after years at being out of baseball. Very, very happy for him that he was able to do that. Because, look, I'm sure he probably doesn't live that way, but I can't imagine, doing it now, late, or, in your 30s. What is he, like 31, 32? And thinking, man, I had talent, and I didn't take care of it when I needed to take care of it. He didn't have his priorities, right? But look, everybody grows up different. Age is different. He's 32. He'll be 33 in September. But good for John Singleton doing what he did again today for the Astros. Good for what he's been able to do when he gets some at-bats. Not the best. Like, he's not going to be one of the better first basemen in the league. That's okay, though. They don't need him to be that. If he can get on base, hit the baseball hard, that's the same story for everybody. If everybody in the lineup can do that, get on base, hit the baseball hard, the Astros will be golden, and they'll win a bunch of games the rest of the season. So they're going off to Toronto now for a quick trip over. It's like an hour and a half flight max to Toronto. That's the good news. So they'll get in tonight. They'll get to the hotel, I don't know, probably about midnight at this rate, maybe a little bit earlier. Get some rest and go right to the ballpark tomorrow. 2:07 first pitch. Then they go 6:07. This is our time, of course. 2:07, 6:07, 6:07, 12:07 on Thursday to finish it off for the 4th of July. We'll be with you for every single game, of course, during this series. Looking at my schedule, I don't think that there's going to be a single day or a single game in the month of July where I will have to take a day off. So I'm planning on doing every game in July. So be there with us throughout this month of July. But it's an important series against a team that, like the Mets, and yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this to Met fan that kept popping in the comments, a team you should beat. Yeah, the Astros should beat the Mets. And guess what the Astros did? They beat them 2 out of 3. The Astros are better than the Mets. Dumb Mets fan. The Blue Jays, though, the same way. They're 38-45. They're not very good. They're going to be a team that's going to sell stuff off. You should absolutely go out there and win these games against them this week. At least take 3 or 4. I mean, in my opinion. Is it a guarantee? No. They're going to go with Hunter Brown tomorrow up against Uriel Rodriguez. I'm sorry if I said his name wrong. Spencer Arrighetti up against Jose Barrios on Tuesday. Wednesday will be Ronel Blanco versus Yusei Kikuchi. And then Thursday, Fromber up against Chris Bassett. Hopefully the Astros get to Bassett like they have in the past because they've seen him so much when he's been in the AL West with the Oakland Athletics. But look, it's a series. Pitching matchup tomorrow favors the Astros. Pitching matchup on Tuesday definitely favors the Blue Jays, but their lineup's not very good. I need to see what the latest is on George Springer. I know that he got hurt the other night. He was starting to play a little bit better baseball. If you've not seen George Springer's numbers this season, though, for the Toronto Blue Jays, good Lord, he has had a terrible year. He's hitting 207, 8 home runs, 25 runs batted in, and a 624 OPS. Yikes. I mean, honestly, his contract with them, he hadn't been very good. First couple of years, he was okay. Like he had OPS of 907 in the 2021 year, but he only played 78 games, then 814 the next year, which is okay. But he's not been he was an all-star his second year. Was he necessarily deserving of that all-star, spot? Probably not. But he's not been the beast George Springer that he was here in Houston. So that Toronto team, though, is still dangerous. You can't just overlook them from the standpoint of, you're going to go in there and waltz right through them because the Astros are red hot like they have been for a while now. They're still a team that has the capability of hitting the baseball over the fence. Whether it's Vlad Guerrero Jr. or Davis Schneider out there in left field, I think is their left fielder. Springer can still get into one, put it over the fence. Justin Turner might be old, but Dalton Varsho hits the ball over the fence, but they don't hit a lot. That's the thing. They don't hit a lot. I'm just pulling up their numbers. They're like almost dead last in the league in batting average. They don't do very many things well. So this team is doing things well right now. They should go out there and beat up on them this week. Let's hope that is the case. So join us tomorrow evening after the 2:07 first pitch. Hopefully talking about an Astros team that's 2 games over 500. Could you believe that? 2! It's a possibility tomorrow in that baseball game. If you're new to the channel again today, please hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this later, please hit the subscribe. We're on the climb towards, I think, 1,200 now. We're trying to go to the moon. We want to have more than Mr. Beast. Do you think there's enough people in the world that wants to listen to Astros baseball talk? I don't know. The only way to find out is to try. So again, join us tomorrow afternoon right here. Same channel, talking Astros and the Blue Jays right here in the Locked On Astros Postcast.